Now at 7 o'clock on WKYT this morning, Kentucky State Police say they have found a second body in Lee County as part of a murder investigation. We'll have more details coming up. Plus, investigators still have not identified the body found Friday in Clark County. And family and friends still have not given up on their search for a missing Northern Kentucky couple. And campaign season has officially kicked off here in the Commonwealth. A look at the annual Fancy Farm Picnic in Western Kentucky. All that's coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good Sunday morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Sean Moody has the morning off, as does Mike Linden, but that's okay. We've got Jim Caldwell here looking ahead to today's weather. Hey there, Jim.
And you know, Sean had a good reason. He won an Emmy last night.
We'll have more on that coming up.
That's right,
yes.
But that's why he's not here. He was too busy being happy all night. We're looking at temperatures out there right now, and we're off to a decent start. 66 degrees in Lexington. Low 70s to our south. Not a bad start, a little on the muggy side. We look now to our forecast for today, and let's break it all down. 66 in Lexington, feels like it's 66. Catching a northeasterly wind, usually that's a nice thing, but we're still going to warm things up somewhat out there today. As you see, highs getting back into the mid-80s. But today, at least over most of Kentucky, we stay dry. There's a very small chance of showers across southern and eastern Kentucky. I'll track the best zone that could see that coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jim. State police say a murder investigation that started Friday has led them to a second body. Troopers found the body just before dark on Hell Creek Road off of Kentucky 11. Police say they found a man dead in the brush off the gravel road. Police tell us they have a couple of people in custody, but a couple others were still on the run. According to Three Fork Jail's inmate roster, Anthony Taylor and Kevin Kendall are booked in the jail on murder charges. Police on scene said more information could be released today, and that's after the coroner is able to identify the man and notify his family. Investigators still have not identified the body found Friday in Clark County. Family and friends of a missing Northern Kentucky couple are sure it's one of their loved ones. Some people spent their Saturday searching for a second body in Montgomery County. The volunteer group KYK9 Search and Reunite Services also brought out their dogs to search for the clues.
Part of the problem's been knowing where to search and then letting people know so that they can keep their eyes out.
Other groups of people kept searching in different places in Clark County. Family members say they're still waiting to hear whether the body found in Clark County on Friday belongs to either Jones or Warner. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the deadly crash in Powell County. The coroner tells us a driver lost control on Snow Creek Road near Clay City. The truck went over an embankment and the driver was able to climb out and flag someone down for help. The coroner says Jessica Vance, a passenger in the truck, died at the scene. The driver went to the hospital. A Boyle County man is still in the hospital recovering from a bad crash he was in last month. Trevor Thompson's 3 friends died in a wreck. A passerby pulled him out of the car and dozens of people gathered together to put on a fundraiser to help pay for his medical bills. A lot of family and friends were there, but strangers showed up too. They tell us they wanted to help out.
I mean, that's the way the good Lord wants you to be, you know. Just take care of other people, you know. And that's the way it's got to be. I mean, no doubt in my mind.
Thompson's mother told us he's ready to get out of the hospital. We talked to him on the phone, and he says he tried to go to the fundraiser, but his doctors would not release him. Still, Thompson is expected to make a full recovery. We've got an update on a Central Kentucky woman seriously injured in a cycling wreck last month in France. Former state auditor Bob Babbage wrote in a Facebook post that his wife Laura is now recovering at Cardinal Hill Rehabilitation Hospital. Laura was injured last month while riding in a cycling event in France. Campaign season in the Commonwealth has officially started after the annual Fancy Farm Picnic in Western Kentucky. Every year on the first Saturday in August, people show up at Fancy Farm for a show. The main act is always the afternoon political stump speaking that's been going on for nearly 100 years. This year was Lexington Mayor Jim Gray's first trip to Fancy Farm, where he faces Senator Rand Paul. The two took jabs at each other in their speeches.
Kentucky deserves a senator whose sole focus is Kentucky. I heard the real reason that the big hole is still there, why he stopped work on the big hole, because he heard there was coal in it.
Senator Paul is seeking a second term in the U.S. Senate. On the Democratic side, Attorney General Andy Beshear and Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes did not attend Fancy Farm. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump ended one of the toughest weeks of his campaign in New Hampshire. A day after mending fences with key Republican leaders, Trump called out rival Hillary Clinton at a rally in Windham. Wendy Gillette covers the campaign from New York.
While Donald Trump's running mate Mike Pence shook hands with voters at an Ohio restaurant, the candidate himself rallied for support in the battleground state of New Hampshire.
The last time I was here, we won, right? Big league. And we're going to win again. I tell you, we're going to win again.
The Republican nominee officially endorsed New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte's re-election bid Friday in an attempt to appease party leaders. He also threw his support behind House Speaker Paul Ryan and Arizona Senator John McCain after initially declining to make endorsements. Several polls out this week show Trump trailing Hillary Clinton nationally by about 7%. On Friday, journalists put Clinton on the spot for suggesting in an interview that FBI Director James Comey had characterized her comments about her private email server as truthful.
I may have short-circuited it, and for that, I will try to clarify.
The people of this country don't want somebody that's going to short-circuit up here.
Looking to paint themselves as better alternatives, newly minted Green Party nominee Jill Stein and Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson are both eyeing a spot in the first presidential debate next month. So far, both fall short of the 15% required in 5 national polls to take the stage. Wendy Gillette for CBS News.
Clinton and running mate Tim Kaine are off the campaign trail this weekend. Now Clinton will hold her next event tomorrow in the battleground state of Florida. We have a traffic alert to pass along this morning for drivers in Lexington. You can expect delays next week on Nicholasville Road. Now, crews will be rewiring traffic signals at the Man of War Boulevard intersection next Sunday, August 14th. Work will start at 7 a.m. and should be complete by 3. Traffic lights will be off while crews work on those rewiring project. Lexington Police will help direct traffic during the outage. The work is necessary to help traffic flow for the new Summit development. After all the heavy rain, the Valley View Ferry that runs in Fayette, Jessamine, and Madison counties is shut down right now. Lexington leaders decided to close it temporarily because of the high water conditions. They do not know when it will reopen. Tonight, a Lexington church will hold a prayer service to address racial concerns in the city. Common Unity is from 7:30 to 9:15 tonight at Central Christian Church on East Short Street. Kentucky utility employees got out of the office and into the classroom to help out 3 Lexington schools. It was all part of KU's annual Day of Caring. Volunteers helped spruce up the schools for their first day of school on Wednesday. The principal at William Wells Brown Elementary School says their staff is busy getting their classrooms ready, so KU decided to help.
We want the teachers doing what they're doing in the classroom and not spending time out here pulling weeds or making the place look nice. So that's why we're here.
Volunteers also help clean up Mary Todd and Yates elementary schools. Students in Fayette County head back to class on Wednesday. We have a list of school start dates throughout Central Kentucky on our website, WKYT.com. Today in Lexington, BCTC's Leestown campus is having a space-inspired camp. It's for middle and high school students interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. Astronaut Frank Culbertson will be leading the camp, and students will be broken into teams that will propose an idea for an experiment to be conducted on the International Space Station. The camp runs from 8 o'clock this morning to 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's in the manufacturing building on Opportunity Way. So WKYT this morning is just getting started. Some are hoping it's the best of both worlds, auto racing and video games. We'll take a look at how racing drones is becoming a sport all of its own. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. And let's hope an app like this comes to Kentucky. It will let you place orders with local chefs and pull up a seat at their table. Hey, that's coming up after Jim's forecast.
And I actually have a dry forecast for us on this Sunday. It's only brief. We're going to have those rain chances coming back tomorrow, but let's enjoy it. I'll track it next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Nice and quiet out there this morning, and we're looking at clear conditions across central Kentucky, eastern Kentucky. Just a good start to this Sunday. Temperatures are going to be running a little warm for you out there for the most part, especially to our south. They're still in the 70s here as we got the day started. 66 feels like temperature of 66. Humidity's up, so it's a little sticky out there. The thing is, that 66-degree reading is right around normal for this time of year, so that's where we should be starting an August morning off. Winds coming out of the northeast because we had a front drop through the area yesterday. It wasn't one of those great atmospheric cleansing fronts, though. It didn't really clean us up completely, taking all the moisture out of the air like we have seen. It still left us with some around, so that's why you'll still have that sticky feel to the air when you get out here in the next couple of hours, maybe head out. Here's what we have. Some cloud cover, maybe even some areas of fog still hanging out to our south and east. The reason some of it could be fog because they had some showers kind of linger a little bit later into southern and eastern portions of Kentucky. We also have that front that's just to the south, just into Knoxville, Tennessee. With that front there, it's going to hang out for a few days. What we'll see are a couple of waves of energy roll along the front, throw showers back into Kentucky. One of the main areas, even today, that has even a small chance. We have a 10% chance here in central Kentucky, which is virtually non-existent. To our south, it bumped it up to a 20% chance, or just a true isolated threat to run into some showers out there today. So you look at Somerset, you look at London, this is a zone that could run into one of those stray showers in this general area. Why? Because the front's sitting just down here, and some of that moisture with a little ripple of energy will try to feed it back into southern and eastern Kentucky. The same thing happens again on Monday. Let me get to that and get there with the hour by hour. There you see the highlighted zone. Again, this is exactly where I had highlighted, tracking those isolated showers popping up. We get through the evening and into the overnight. Things are quiet again, just like they are right now, but watch the clouds thicken up across eastern portions of Kentucky into Monday. And then you even see the moisture, the showers breaking out a little bit better. Most of us will stay dry again on Monday, but we do have that concentration of rain hanging out to our south and east. Here comes our 7-day forecast. It certainly has several rain chances showing up in it. Today, again, it's a brief break from some of those showers. Keep that 10% chance alive because of that isolated threat to our south and east. And then you've got more storm chances Monday all the way through Saturday. So it looks action-packed there, Michelle.
Rain, but we do need a break today, right?
We do need a break.
We need it.
And we'll take it.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Okay, Jimmy, I know you like to have a nice dinner, right?
Of course.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't, right?
I know. Yeah. But not everybody likes to cook that nice dinner. I don't. Do you?
No, I never like to cook it. It's too much work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this app. It allows you to place an order with a local chef, and then that chef brings it to your home, the food.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Here's the story.
Just go online and pull up a seat to the latest app produced and launched right here in Central Florida.
I wanted some food and I can't cook. So I was like, I know a lot of people in my neighborhood and I know a lot of my friends can cook, but the thing was just that I had no way to just go up to their door and be like, can you cook me a meal? That would be really awkward and weird.
So instead, this college grad with a business degree and programming skills partnered with a friend and designed what she hopes will become the hottest new app. It's called Pull Up a Seat.
And it's basically where you can find anyone cooking around you and you can pull up a seat, or in simpler terms, grab a plate. And so you can go to your neighbor if they were posting a listing and they said they had taco night. You could go over there and grab yourself a taco, and it's a cheaper, healthier, and 24/7 around-the-clock alternative.
And Camille explains it's a moneymaker for the chef, too. It's already available on Apple devices, and folks are already serving and ordering up or online.
Here's one. She's having something cooking.
Very rich stew made with palm nut extract and juice. It will be served with boiled white rice and a side of fried sweet plantains. The stew is made with assorted meats, water, and soft drink will be provided based on choice. And what's the cost?
$12.
Oh, $12.
And then you just go down here, contact if you have anything like allergy, or you're like, oh, I'm bringing a child, or anything you want to message her.
No delivery right now. You either go to the person's home and dine in or take out. Camille likens it to Uber. She says they vet the chefs, and then those who use the app rank them.
I see it being something that can be taken worldwide.
It's very interesting. What if they did that here in Lexington? Would you use the app and go to a chef's house?
Well, of course. I mean, you're not going to get any better service than at a chef's house.
I know, right?
Right?
And no better food.
And no better food. That's right.
Sounds good to me. When WKYT This Morning returns, we're looking at a new sport that's really taken off and an inside look at the world of drone racing. We're calling this a sport when we come back. Welcome back to WKYT this morning. In the last couple of years, drones have become an increasingly popular way to capture aerial photography and monitor crops. But one group of flyers is focused instead on how fast they can get their quadcopters to go and how fast they can turn their hobby into a full-fledged sport. Brooke Selva Braga has the story from New Jersey.
It was YouTube videos like these, viewed millions of times last year, that sent lots of people shopping for drones. Peter Grian was one of them.
Saw some videos and just thought, why am I not doing this right now?
Now, the Australian is a drone pilot for Team Multistar.
So a year ago, you watch a drone video on the internet, and today someone's paying for you to fly around the world to fly this thing.
Yeah.
The sport has taken off because the races look like this. Pilots use a real-time feed from the drone's camera to steer the quadcopters. Spectators can view the feed too. Sponsors hope that drone racing will combine the appeal of esports and auto racing.
You get to be the quad. You get to fly around, like no limits.
19-year-old Kane Madare won $2,500 as the winner of this week's Liberty Cup in New Jersey. Next, he's headed to the U.S. Nationals in New York. A 15-year-old won $250,000 at a race this year in Dubai. $2,000 in gear can get you racing, but it could take months to learn to fly the all-manual drones, which racers build by hand. The reward, an adrenaline rush Rafa Paiva compares to the motorcycles he used to race. 5 months ago, he quit working to fly full-time.
You're making a bet that this is going to get big enough that you can make real money on it.
Yes, that's right. I'm giving it a shot.
In drone racing, taking a chance is half the fun. Brooke Silva Braga for CBS News, Jersey City, New Jersey.
$250,000, that's not too bad, right? WKYT will be back this morning with more. Sports is next.
Mid and upper 60s showing up out there this morning. We are in pretty good shape and we'll be a little bit better through the daytime hours today as well, probably into the mid 80s. Lower humidity around. It's not going to be a walk in the park like we could certainly experience with the passing of a cold front, but we'll certainly take it. Low 70s are still hanging out across southern and eastern Kentucky. They had a thicker cloud deck hang out with them through most of the overnight, which kept them a little bit warmer. And there you see it, lining up exactly where the 70s are still hanging out. Skies cleared for us, so we cooled down a little bit more and a little bit quicker out there as well, with that front making its run through the area. Let's take you through the day today with our hour-by-hour run. You can see some of the clouds that are hanging out with us here this morning. We'll start to break up even more so as we progress through the day, and this will allow for us, you see by noontime we're in the low 80s, but you'll see more in the way of sunshine eventually and daytime highs right around average for this time of year. So not a bad looking day at all. That's all I've got for weather, at least for now. Now here's Lee Kay with sports.
Well, Fan Day is always a highlight of the opening weekend of the preseason camp for Kentucky football. And if there were any questions concerning the fans' excitement regarding this upcoming football season, look no further than Fan Day on Saturday morning. Early that morning, hundreds of UK fans stood in line at the Nutter Indoor Practice Facility to get an autograph from their favorite players and coaches. And one of the longest lines was for Mark Stoops. Then, after getting the autographs, the fans went out to the new practice fields to get a first look at the team. Now, Stoops said that he was pleased with the practice portion of Fan Day, particularly the wide receivers who were being asked to raise their level of their game this season.
I like seeing that. I like seeing good coverage and good catches because that's what's going to happen. You don't, again, you've heard me talk about it. You don't want one side to have success because the other side's not doing their job and leaving things wide open or being inept and not playing the way you're supposed to. You want to see competitive plays.
Two of the four guys who will be immortalized by a statue outside of Commonwealth Stadium this season were signing autographs yesterday morning. Wilbur Hackett and Nate Northington, two of the four Trailblazers in integrating the SEC. They were a part of Fan Day on Saturday.
They're back with all of our ex-alumni, you know, so it's good to have them, and I thought it was appropriate because they're on the poster, and we're recognizing those guys, and you know, it was good for our fans to be able to see them and spend some time with them.
Certainly well-deserved. Good to see that. Meanwhile, USA Basketball picked up a dominating win in their first preliminary round game at the Rio Olympics, 119-62 over China. DeMarcus Cousins had 17 points and 5 rebounds. Kevin Durant led the way with 25. Next up is Venezuela on Monday. That's a look at your morning sports. Have a great day.
Further in the United States, officials in Ohio are now saying 24 concertgoers suffered medical symptoms, not overdoses. They say the concertgoers ate candy laced with a drug found in marijuana. The victims were at the Ohio Dream Sports Camp complex in Butler. A weekend-long rap music festival was being held. Authorities say someone gave them candy containing THC, the main chemical in marijuana. The number of Zika cases in the United States topped 1,800 last week, mostly from travel to foreign countries. In Florida, officials are spraying insecticide to get rid of mosquitoes. In a Miami neighborhood, health officials say local mosquitoes have now infected at least 16 people with the virus, which causes severe birth defects. Pregnant women are now advised to stay away from Florida's so-called Zika zone. The warning has some mothers on edge.
The most fearful thing is I don't want to have a child who ends up with some of the severe cerebral defects that are being talked about, including microencephaly.
Another concern in Florida is how the Zika virus is impacting tourism. Governor Rick Scott says mosquito control crews have been effective. They could also be a new weapon in the fight against the virus. Federal authorities have approved testing of genetically modified mosquitoes designed to stop the spread of Zika by reducing mosquito populations. The first ever Walking Dead Day in Cynthiana is in the books, and it was a real scare. Tens of thousands of walkers were in town for the festival. The day was a homecoming for Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore, the creators of the popular comic and TV show The Walking Dead. The pair posed in front of a road sign that now bears their names.
I got to go downtown this morning because I showed up a little early and there were already people there, and I got to shake a lot of hands. And, you know, I didn't kiss a baby, but I did sign the back of a baby's onesie, which was pretty exciting. And it's just great to see the people and get to talk to everyone.
Organizers gave out 10,000 copies of the first issue of the graphic novel. It's a special cover that features Pike Street in Cynthiana. And we have some congratulations to pass along this morning. WKYT brought some hardware from the Ohio Valley Regional Emmy Awards in Lawrenceburg. That's in Indiana, and it happened last night. WKYT's Sean Moody picked up a win in the General Assignment Reporting category. Investigative reporter Miranda Combs and videographer Barton Bill were also nominated for an award. So congratulations to Sean Moody this morning. Your time now is 7:39. Coming up on WKYT this morning, some students in Michigan have embraced their inner Will Smith to draw attention to problems at their school. That story coming up after Jim's forecast.
And my forecast actually remains mainly dry for a big chunk of the area today. A few of us still have the isolated chance for showers. We'll break it all down coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Nice, quiet morning out there for most of us across central Kentucky. Getting a little active to our south with a rogue shower or two. And that's going to be a zone, I think, that runs into isolated chances today. And I do mean isolated. Very, very small showers will likely go up across southern and eastern Kentucky today. You can also see a split in temperatures here this morning. And the split is a little more cloud cover, maybe some areas of fog to our south, keeping temperatures stable through the overnight and here early this morning. So you find 70s. You look through central and eastern Kentucky, mid-60s hanging out in these areas because the sky's cleared overnight, and a much different situation. That allows for it to get cooler during the overnight hours. As we look ahead, most stay dry today, and I mean that. Most of us are going to be completely dry. Even in counties that run into shower chances, most of you will still remain on the dry side. Isolated threat remains active in our forecast today, at least. Here's a closer look at what the isolated risk looks like. It's mainly across southern and eastern Kentucky. It's a zone that will have the best chances. We've got some moisture that's going to be trying to run at us from the Gulf of Mexico, straight out of the Gulf, starting with today as we get a disturbance coming together. And it's feeding some of that moisture up and along an old boundary that's hanging out. And that boundary will keep the rain chances alive, especially there today. Storm chances will ramp up, though, as we progress through the rest of the week. So enjoy the mostly dry day today. You can even see a little hint of some of the moisture trying to come together here right now with parts of Laurel County, Whitley County, and into McCreary County, all seeing very light showers. The coverage might get a little bit better than that today, but still very small like you're seeing. Frontal boundaries to our south already, with moisture trying to feed in toward it over the next few days. It's going to keep those rain chances active, pretty active. Here we go. There you see the isolated chances later today. We're at 3 o'clock, breaking out into some of the rain, and I never think the actual radar looks quite that impressive, but it's just highlighting the areas of concern for today. That's what the model's trying to interpret. Now, let's get into your Monday afternoon. Showers are going up across eastern Kentucky. They thicken up and could actually turn into full-blown thunderstorms as well as we go through your Monday. We go into Tuesday and we start talking about more chances of showers and thunderstorms. This chance gets a little more widespread. We start running into it not only just here in eastern Kentucky, well, not here, but in eastern Kentucky, but we could run into it here in central Kentucky as well. So that's what we'll be tracking here through that 7-day forecast, Michelle.
Well, you did spend a lot of time in eastern Kentucky.
Well, I did so most of my life, so yeah. But sometimes I'm still there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So students at a Michigan school are frustrated with the lack of air conditioning that's in their school, and their school is 50 years old.
Now, wow, they've made a parody video to try to raise money for a new one. Mike Anderson has their story.
Just sit right there. I'll tell you all about Seafront, the school with no air.
It's been a long, hot summer for everybody at Sherman Park Lutheran School. So hot, they're rapping about it.
I came into school with my big poofy hair, but it shriveled all up because we ain't got no air.
The half-century-old building has no central air, and they rely on portables that look almost as old.
It is warm all of the time, so they just get used to sweating to make it through the day.
So the kids, along with some help from their teachers, have done a parody on a Will Smith rap song in hopes of raising funds to bring central air to the school.
Anything to get the attention. That's what sometimes is hard to do. There are people out there that want to help.
They're hoping that one of those people is Ellen DeGeneres.
That is what they would love. You don't go to Ellen, Ellen comes to you, so I guess our kids are saying, hey, Ellen, we're here.
If not Ellen, then someone else with deep pockets.
It's going to take tens of thousands, if not close to $100,000.
Summer school ended last week. The kids have to be back here in 2 weeks to start the fall session. Unfortunately, it'll still be hot, and they won't have those new air conditioners by then.
Well, they got our attention. Somebody needs to get these kids some air conditioning.
Get it going because they're going to need it. Plenty of heat left this summer.
That's right. We'll have more news when we come back.
Good morning, I'm Bill Bryant. Glad you're with us on WKYT. The UK Chandler Medical Center has been named the top hospital in Kentucky by U.S. News. Several of its programs have been singled out for effectiveness. The university's longtime spokesman, Jay Blanton, is a guest on Kentucky Newsmakers. He talks with me about that and the start of the new school year. First of all, congratulations, and tell us about this top ranking for UK Hospital. It's also a very busy operation over there. You know, how do you keep that balance of quality and everything moving through there?
Well, I think that's what that U.S. News ranking that you're referring to alludes to. Ranked #1 in the state by U.S. News, and they look at excellence really across a number of areas. We're high performing in 6 areas. The only cancer center in the state to be mentioned is high performing. And one of the metrics they look at, which I think speaks to your question about how you do that balance, is talking about not only patient outcomes and patient safety, but quality of staffing. And in February of 2016, our nurses received magnet status. You could get into a big technical explanation for what that means, but what it simply means is they're simply the best of the best. And so it really is about quality staffing. And I was over in the hospital a couple times this week actually visiting someone and watching those nurses in that emergency room department, which is, to say the least, busy every day. Is a level 1 trauma center, and they really are the best of the best in terms of how they care for folks, the attention to detail that they have. So it really is an affirmation more than anything else, the quality of the staff and the sophistication of the care and the outcomes that are delivered there every day.
How do you keep staff motivated like that to do that kind of work 24/7 throughout the year?
Well, I think there's been a vision, I think, led by Dr. Carr for the last 15 years that very simply says that we want any Kentuckian, wherever they are in the state, to wake up every day to know that they don't have to leave the state to get the best care. We're a state with a lot of health challenges, and that really needs a nationally ranked and nationally regarded level 1 trauma center that provides the best in advanced subspecialty care. So that's the mission, and I think you've got a staff there of several thousand folks who are really committed to that mission, which I think also fits the mission of the institution as a land-grant institution that is so tied to our state, so tied to being what Dr. Capilouto calls the University for Kentucky. That hospital really symbolizes the best of that. So I think you've got everyone really aligned with the mission.
Research is very important at the university, and particularly in the health fields, and there is a lot of that going on. You made reference to Kentucky having these challenges. We know that's true. Do we try to tailor the research done to the challenges that Kentucky faces? Do we do that well in Kentucky?
I think so, and I would mention two things. Under President Capilouto, we really pushed forward, and with the leadership of the legislature, and particularly President Stivers, last year got permission to start work on a $265 million research building. State's paying for half, the university's paying for half. That is really going to be targeted at health disparities, and particularly health disparities in Appalachia. So we are really tailoring our research toward those finding solutions for Kentucky. And the truth of the matter is, we've got some challenges, but when we solve Kentucky problems, we're solving global problems.
Now you can see my full interview with Blanton and also hear from Kentucky Labor Secretary Derek Ramsey on creating jobs in the Commonwealth. It's on Kentucky Newsmakers. We'll repeat it this morning at 10 over on the CW Lexington. And we'll have the latest news, weather, and traffic for you this week on WKYT This Morning. Join us bright and early. I'm Bill Bryant. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. We have a heartwarming story to tell you about before we go, because weddings are emotional, but even more so for one Pittsburgh dad.
Right, yeah, that's right. Jenny's dad couldn't walk her down the aisle. He was killed back in 2006. He donated his organs, and Jenny has kept in touch with the man who received his heart for the past 10 years. She then asked him to walk her down the aisle. He said yes, of course, and the rest is history. Jenny says it was just like having her dad with her on her special day. How
What a
about
great
that?
story. That is special.
That is absolutely fantastic. Forecast-wise, most of us are going to be in the fantastic side as well today, too. Humidity down a little bit, but across southern and eastern Kentucky, a few shower chances will try to pop up. But around Lexington today, there you see the breakdown for us. We'll likely end up somewhere in the mid-80s, maybe 84, 85, 86, just depending on what side of town you're on. With mainly sunny skies. We'll get a mix of sun and clouds out there for us today. But enjoy it while it lasts, Michelle, because the rain chances will ramp up again throughout most of the new work week. Again, I mean, not that that's a surprise. We've had to deal with rain so much lately, right?
We're kind of getting used to it.
Yeah, just normal
Today
here.
seems like a great day.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
get out and enjoy it.
Well,
But before you do, switch it over to WKYT. We're on for another hour of news, weather, and sports. See you in a few.